This video is for junior high history. We're looking at the highlights from pages 286 all the way up until page 292. So we're looking at the West Indies now, the islands of the Caribbean. On page 286, find the date in bold, October 12th, 1492. Highlight that. And of course, you can remember our little rhyme to remember that. In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. So highlight our date and highlight Columbus and his men landed on an island that Columbus named San Salvador. Christopher Columbus had discovered America. Now, obviously, he hadn't exactly discovered America. There were people living there long before he arrived, but he discovered America in the sense that Europeans had not previously known that it existed. So the people that he found there were the Arawak tribe, and they gave us words in the English language now, such as maize, that's a word for corn, potato, and tobacco. And then we had the Carib tribe, that's where the Caribbean Sea comes from, and the word canoe comes from the Carib language. Now, Columbus called the Arawak and the Carib Indians because he thought he had arrived in the Indies. And he was very wrong about that. He thought that he had arrived in the area that includes India, China, the East Indies, and Japan. So when they realized that he had not in fact reached Asia, they called the area the West Indies to avoid further confusion. But the native people of the Americas were still often referred to as Indians. Now, of course, it's usually considered politically incorrect to call them Indians. We'll refer to them as Native Americans. Okay, no more highlights on that page. Page 287, under Columbus's later voyages, find the bold term Isabella. Highlight Isabella, highlight that it was the first European city in the Americas. Of course, Columbus named that after Queen Isabella, the Spanish queen who had paid for his original trip. And Columbus, interestingly, did not land on the mainland of the Americas until his third voyage, and he landed in South America. And we say that he discovered America, but he, I don't think, ever actually set foot on North America, if I remember correctly. Okay, turning the page. We've got some reading there to do. Make sure that you're completing all of your reading. Don't just get the highlights. We have other important facts here as well. On page 289, second column under 16.2, islands of mountains and coral. Under the Antilles and the Bahamas. The West Indies are divided into three main groups. We have the Greater Antilles, the Bahamas, and the Lesser Antilles. So highlight the Greater Antilles in bold, and highlight that this includes Cuba, Hispaniola, Jamaica, and Puerto Rico. You can skip that portion. That's in the what's it called? Parentheses there. Not entirely important to remember that Hispaniola is Haiti and the Dominican Republic, two countries that share that island. But you do need to know that those four islands make up the Greater Antilles: Cuba, Hispaniola, Jamaica, and Puerto Rico. The Lesser Antilles are so named because they're mostly made up of smaller islands than those ones. So the Greater Antilles are just south of Florida. Cuba is only about 90 miles off of Florida. Turning to page 290, find Bermuda in bold, very top of the column. Highlight Bermuda is not actually a part of the West Indies, but is often included with the West Indies. Keep highlighting the Bermuda Islands are in the Atlantic Ocean, about 580 miles southeast of North Carolina. So actually quite a ways away from the rest of the West Indies, not in the Caribbean Sea, but out in the Atlantic Ocean. Under volcanoes, highlights around Mount Pelée. Highlights several volcanoes are still active, including Mount Pelée on Martinique. Keep highlighting Mount Pelée erupted violently in 1902, destroying the town of Saint Pierre. On page 291, find coral reefs in bold under the picture there. Not the heading the first time that has it, but the second time within the paragraph. Highlight coral reefs, which usually form in shallow tropical waters, are colorful formations created by millions of tiny animals called polyps. I want to know that. And if you ever get a chance to visit down there and see some of the Caribbean islands and go snorkeling, you can see some pretty cool things down there. You can see a picture there, and brightly colored fish and all the coral. Lots of different unique sea creatures down there. Guppies and angelfish are some of them. There's various kinds of shellfish as well. The queen conch can be over a foot long. If you've ever seen a big conch shell, they can get pretty big. Highlight on the second column there on page 291, the horse conch. Find that in bold, the horse conch. Highlight the horse conch has the largest shell found in American waters. Its shells can be over 2 feet long. Last highlight on that page, find the bold term marlin under other sea life. Highlight the marlin is a fish with a spear-like snout up to 2 feet long. And I'm going to point out this one just because I think its name is really funny. The wahoo has a protruding snout and often grows over 5 feet long and weighs 140 pounds. It's funny they named a fish a wahoo. Alright, turning to page 292. Last highlight, second column, find sugar in bold. Highlight sugar is the main product of the West Indies. Things like bananas, coffee, cocoa, tobacco, and petroleum are also important down there, but sugarcane is the big one. You see the picture down there, the man harvesting the sugarcane. So they'll take the canes and they crush them and squeeze all the juice out, and then there's a process of refining the juice and turning it into the ground sugar that we're familiar with. So that is the last of the highlights there for today. Make sure that you answer your homework questions. Contact me if you need anything, and just let me know if there's anything that I can do for you or help you with, and just know that I am here for you. Have a great rest of your day.